Good evening. It's actually difficult to be one of the last speakers where everybody wants to go back home. I come from India, the land of colors, the land of yoga, Ayurveda, spirituality. Unfortunately, it's also a land of large number of diabetic patients. So basically, over the last 2 days, we have been having a lot of discussions, but I feel the most important thing which has been missed out is how do you make economic sense of all these things. So it's very easy, or I have not been fortunate to be in a country where the government funds telehealth, or I'm not a big organization, so I'm still an independent practitioner who also wanted to get into teleophthalmology and started it off as a small experiment with 2-3 centers 3 years back, and right now we are at 160 locations all over India and reaching out to 10,000 patients a month through teleophthalmology. So how did we make, and all our patients are paying, so we don't do it free for anybody. So how did we put forward and how did we solve the economic puzzle? So maybe that was the whole idea of this talk, and if people can give me suggestions or if somebody can take away something from this talk, I'll be happy at the end of this. So I do have a few financial disclosures to make. So I read an interesting article from the TechCrunch maybe around 3-4 years back, which said the world's largest car company doesn't own cars, or the world's largest hotel company, Airbnb, doesn't own any physical properties. Hopefully in future the world's largest eye care organization might not be owning any physical eye hospitals, or maybe that's a dream. So what have these companies provided is a democratization of access. So previously when you want to book a flight ticket, you have to go through a travel agent, and then there was not an easy access. With websites and Make My Trip kind of websites, there is a democratization of the access, so anybody can log on and then access the travel agent. So more interesting or more important is we need such similar democratization of access in healthcare scenario also, particularly when patients are not able to access an eye care provider. So basically the platform model is here to stay in providing democratization of access. So maybe the main question is teleophthalmology really viable? Can we do it as a commercially viable business if you're not funded? Or what were the challenges which we faced in our journey over the last 3 years, and what's the model which we followed, and are there any collaboration avenues which we seek out with other players here? These are the questions which might be answered at the end of the presentation. India has a huge diabetic population. We have around 70 million, which is almost, I'll say, 25% of the world's diabetes population. And so we have around 7% of the population which is diabetic, and there is also 450 million children who are having visual refractory errors and other visual problems, and only 20,000 ophthalmologists addressing the whole population in India. We don't have an established optometry system, so basically it's only the ophthalmologists. So on one side we have 20,000 ophthalmologists, and on the other side we have 70 million patients. So how do we tackle both these ends, and how do we try to connect both these things? And I think technology is the only way to reach out to the whole population. Lots of discussion happened over the last 2 days on these things. So what is the current retina screening? So in order to reach the population, we cannot wait for the patients to come to us. We wanted to go to the places where the patient go. So patients visit physicians in India when they have diabetes. A patient visit a diabetologist, an endocrinologist, or a lab. So, but these places were offering a blood test, but they were not able to offer a retinal checkup. So the cost of equipment, a diabetologist was not able to invest for a costly equipment like a fundus camera. Or even if they had invested for an equipment, they were not able to have the personnel who can do the testing. So, and the other challenges, the physician acceptance, whether a new model of teleophthalmology was acceptable by the physician, and whether patients will accept and pay money for the whole thing. And in India, we have huge issues with connectivity, and the main challenge was financial viability. So putting up a fundus camera in a clinic, and how do we make money out of it? These are all the main challenges we face. So what we offered the diabetologist was a full package, so a camera and a software where images can be uploaded, and the network of ophthalmologists who can do the reporting. I think we never tried artificial intelligence because the diabetologist in India still feel, or even the patient wants to pay money only when there is a report given by an ophthalmologist. So the whole thing was developed based on the trust which was developed between us and the diabetologist. So this is fairly similar to whatever we do. So we set up a camera in a diabetes center, and then the images are uploaded into our own cloud-based platform, and I have a team of doctors who can log in the cloud from anywhere and give back the reports. The main thing is we give the report within 30 minutes. So there was no obstruction of flow of patient in the diabetes clinic. So that was the main thing which made the success in the whole story. And we are also trying to do a similar telemedicine for pediatric clinics, where we are trying to work with the pediatricians, setting up a vision screener and seeing if patients will pay for that. We are not very successful in that, but we are trying to set that up also. So this is our cloud where images get uploaded, and then doctors keep reporting within half an hour. We have a queue management system where for each report there are 3 doctors aligned, and if the first doctor doesn't report within 10 minutes, it goes back to the second, and so we see to that the patient gets the report within 30 minutes. So we associate with diabetes centers, general hospitals, nephrologists or neurologists, laboratories and optical shops. So we created a win-win situation for the patient mainly, because a patient is able to get a retinal examination at the level of a diabetes center itself, and they were happy to pay that extra money for that, basically because they don't have to wait in an eye hospital. So only whoever is positive goes to an eye hospital. For the physician, it made a lot of sense because he was able to offer a value-added service. A diabetologist in India offers most of the blood test and everything else other than a fundus examination, because he doesn't have the device, and second thing, he didn't have the expertise. So basically he thought that as a value add for himself, and he was able to make extra revenues also. So we gave the equipment to the diabetologist and we were charging for the reports. So basically he didn't have to make that huge investment on the equipment, and we were supporting them to reach as many number of patients as possible through the whole system. For the ophthalmologist, definitely it made sense practicing in the local area, basically because we were focusing only on screening. We never wanted the patients to come to us. So we are now at almost 20 different states of India. So the local ophthalmologists were happy with the whole issue. And the manufacturer benefited because he was able to sell a lot of equipments because of us. So we have so far reached to 220,000 patients and identified around 18% with the retinopathy, and around reaching out to 10,000 patients every month. So this is our presence all over India. What started as a small venture in Chennai now reached all over India in 20 states and around 40 locations. So we are looking at collaboration with other ophthalmologists who would like to partner with us in terms of reporting, or we are now trying out a franchise model where we work with other ophthalmologists, and maybe we are also working on a TeleOphthalmology platform for patient referrals also. So I think this is a quote from Mahatma Gandhi: a small group of determined and like-minded people can change the course of history. I'm sure this is a small group of like-minded people interested in teleophthalmology, and I'm sure we can definitely change the course of history if we can fix the financial bit. Otherwise, even after 10 years, we are going to talk the same thing. Thank you. So these are my contact details. So if you want to get in touch with me, please do get in touch.